What if a boy who has just been born has been moved? The ability to catch before others is frighteningly similar. These two brothers are half-brothers and grandfathers, but they have the same appearance and dress style in every detail. In the past, his mother was a famous dancer throughout the region. Because of this, the sister's mother became jealous and hated her face, so she decided to steal her husband. After many nights of lying on her hands and thinking boredly, the younger brother's mother decided to change herself to become a different version of the other person. At first, the younger brother was strongly opposed to his mother's behavior. He wanted his mother to live as a free, carefree, thoughtless life. But from the moment he saw his mother kneeling with a thick rope to help his brother, his thoughts suddenly changed dramatically. If my mother liked to catch others first, he would also catch me first to the end. He will definitely become a more perfect version of the opponent. The age of 18 is the most beautiful age of life because at that age people are the youngest. However, in an interview with Han Eu-sol, a guy who had just turned 18 was eliminated from the parking round. The reason also sounds quite ridiculous when the interviewer thinks that Han Eu-sol is too old to have a chance to develop. It sounds quite unique, but in Korean entertainment companies, this problem is very normal. The school that Eu-sol is attending is the Dan Art School. One school that Jeongju Plum often rumors about is a Korean idol production machine. Once you can hold a diploma in your hand, you are considered to have stepped into the entertainment industry. The atmosphere on campus, we say, is always bustling. The top of the ceiling is fluttering. Everywhere there are beautiful boys and girls. Every 1 square meter there are up to a few dozen stupid mews. The important thing is that everyone exudes their own charm. Because of the dream of becoming a celebrity, because of the future of making a lot of money, everyone is looking forward to the day when they will be released. However, letting herself get a pen base is not as easy as taking her on a summer trip. Because even Yuseum himself couldn't remember how many times he had failed. Every time I participate in interviews to be released, Yuseum feels like he is drowning in negative emotions. The feeling of pressure was so intense that he couldn't breathe. Because he was no longer young, Yuseum couldn't look like he was here to everyone. It is also because of that psychological barrier that he always feels stressed every time he stands in front of the camera. Seeing Yuseum's tense face like a string, the interviewer clearly expressed his discomfort in his heart. On the way back to school, there were many different entertainment companies that kept sending names to Yuseum. Seeing this, his peers immediately showed their jealousy of him because they thought that Yuseum would be released soon. No one knows how the obsession that makes Yuseum never become a big idol. Only Yuseum could understand how much pressure he was facing. That very afternoon, as soon as he walked into the Yuseum gym, he witnessed a heated battle between 2 female trainees. Just because of a simple dance move, the 2 girls decided to clearly divide each other. When the 2 were enthusiastic, the teacher suddenly appeared out of nowhere to help them solve the problem. Without carrying a mocking face, the teacher seriously warned everyone. There are many people out there every day who cross the sun and rainy months to practice but still have not realized their dreams. So with the current situation, not everyone sitting in this room can debut to become a celebrity. At this moment, Yuseum's phone rang suddenly, attracting the guy's attention. It turned out that the management company sent a message announcing that his interview had failed miserably. The message came at the right time, as if it was proving that what the teacher had just said was completely true. Receiving the Yuseum notice, he could not dismiss all worries about the long future ahead of him. In another corner of the school, Zaza innocently listened to Countless Sins poetry and was happily filming a new vlog. In order for the video to reach the top, Zaza decided to take on the challenge of confessing his love to his classmates. So she carried a camera and ran everywhere to confess her love to her friends. Knowing that Zaza was filming a vlog, everyone was very cooperative to create funny moments. However, the number of people who refused to confess their love has also exceeded 10 fingertips. As soon as Zaza ran out, he turned to Yuseum, a person who was bewildered because he didn't understand anything. After learning about Yuseum, he didn't pay attention to Zaza's words because in his eyes it was just a joke. Who would have thought that it was that momentless moment that made Yuseum's life turn a new page in history? After class, Yuseum's phone suddenly flashed with a rush of announcements, as if to smash the silent atmosphere. After Zaza's vlog was trended, Yuseum suddenly became a phenomenon that attracted the attention of plum gypsies. Those who watched that video all thought that the appearance of Yuseum and another famous star was like 2 drops of water. Compared to Yuseum, he is the son of the chairman of the second most famous entertainment company in Korea. The moment he got off the car, the reporter immediately pulled back like a deep buffalo tearing the backyard. Just like that, a very ordinary opening ceremony suddenly turned into a press conference that was not trivial. At this time, Yusium accidentally passed by and suddenly saw a face that looked like he was cast from a mold standing in the middle of the crowd. Even if he dreamed Yusium, he didn't expect that he and the famous star Subin were so similar. With the thought that he is a famous person, so when standing in front of reporters, Subin couldn't help but say provocative words to the other party. A land cannot have two kings. A Korean art academy has only one true Subin. Seeing that he was considered a fake Yusium Subin, he was so angry that he clenched his fists. Since his father gave birth to his mother, the thing that Yusium hates the most is the same as other people. From a young age, Yusium revealed this strange way of thinking. Just seeing other classmates wearing shoes like me, Yusium will directly throw those shoes in the trash. Therefore, even though the plum population commented that he had a resemblance to Subin, making Yusium suddenly swell on social networks. But Yusium was not happy about this fame but was also full of hands. One day, a company personally invited Yusium to attend the product launch ceremony. But that company wanted Yusium to use Subin's name, so he flatly refused. Everything suddenly turns out like a mess when Yusium and Subin are in the same school. No one can predict what will happen in the future. The next day, Yusium still walked to school with his friend Hyunwoo as usual. At this moment, a new student named Bangsukin suddenly ran out of nowhere and blocked the way of two people. Just after meeting, Bangsukin offered to invite Yusium and Hyunwoo to join him in the challenge. Although Yusium said no, the other party still tried his best to beg him. Not only that, Bangsukin also enthusiastically sent both of them one bag of candy as a debut gift. Standing in front of this sweet pit, Yusium had no way to refuse. During the video recording, everyone happily completed their challenge. But since Subin appeared as a god, the atmosphere suddenly changed. Knowing that everyone was doing the challenge, Subin immediately expressed his desire to participate. But it was a coincidence and surprise that day Subin and Yusium wore two identical hats. Not stopping there, Subin was also quick to talk about the real Subin, fake Subin in order to provoke Yusium. Seeing Yusium so angry that he blushed, Subin even acted innocently and asked, looking at Yusium so much like him? Subin's stone-like question, like adding oil to the fire, directly pushes Yusium's anger to a climax. 3 Blood 6 Yusio immediately grabbed Subin's collar. In just a split second, the fight between the two attracted the attention of nearby classmates. Noticing that there was a drama, the masses ate melons and immediately pulled out their phones and started shooting. Knowing that everyone was buzzing about his actions, the fear hidden deep in Yusium's heart suddenly arose. Yusium stood still and didn't move and then immediately ran to the toilet and couldn't stop vomiting. Standing outside, Hyunwoo and Zaza couldn't help but worry and call his name in this sad night. Among the acquaintances, only Jooshi is the one who understands Yusium's personality well. However, she is often absent from classes because she debuted before graduation. So every time there is something needed, people can only contact her by phone. Although Jooshi's time in class is not much, her friends always remember her. On Jooshi's birthday, her classmates also don't forget to send her a birthday cake. Knowing that you always care, Jooshi wants to show his gratitude to everyone. However, after learning about her teammates, she ridiculed her and thought too much. Because there is only one birthday, Jooshi has posted so many articles on social networks. Until sitting in the car, Jooshi also had to sit in the co-driver's seat because her teammates tried to boycott her. The eyes of his teammates became even more malicious when the driver was full of praise for Jooshi's position. One day when Jooshi was wandering like a wild cat to look at the idol's poster. At this moment, behind her, a man suddenly appeared friendly and said hello to her. Realizing that the person in front of him is the idol in his heart, Jooshi is happy as if he wants to jump into the blue sky. In his overflowing happiness, Jooshi offered to take a photo with his idol. Since that day when the idol tried to encourage his spirit, Jooshi is even more determined to realize his dream of becoming a celebrity. Not long after Jooshi successfully entered the roof of an art high school, everything went smoothly like young water drifting away. One day, the attention of the young talent seeker bumps into Jooshi's innocent beauty. Then she became a trainee earlier than her peers. Soon after being chosen to like young talents, Jooshi successfully debuted and became famous as he is now. Everything that came to Jooshi suddenly seemed like a never-ending dream. But after realizing her dream, every day Jooshi asks herself if this is the life she really wants. After long nights of non-stop work, she still wants to go back to school because her friends are all there. At this time, Jooshi's group of friends are preparing a party to celebrate her return in the hope of making a big surprise. Who would have thought that the person who appeared first was the innocent Yusong with countless sins? Before everyone could flee elsewhere, the real owner of the Jooshi party had appeared. The party was suddenly completely ruined, so Zaza couldn't help but blame Yusong. Seeing this, Yusong immediately counterattacked and explained that it was Zaza who asked him to get the cake. Watching his friends arguing, Jooshi suddenly smiled from the bottom of his heart. After all, in the entertainment industry, there is no simple relationship. There are only a few days left until the orientation ceremony. The teacher finds Yusong and asks him to perform. At the same time, he also announced that his classmates had also agreed. However, when he heard that Subin would also be on stage, Yusong couldn't help but feel disappointed. Knowing that he is often called a fake Subin, he wonders if the students are expecting a confrontation between a real Subin and a fake Subin. Receiving the notice from the homeroom teacher, he was confused about whether to participate or not. However, Jooshi, with his enthusiastic nature and always caring for his friends, took the initiative to find Yusong to comfort him. She said that there will be many talent seekers coming to the ceremony and this is a good opportunity for him. Not only that, Jooshi also lightly punched him in the shoulder to wake up his spirit. After that, Yusong began to work hard to prepare for the performance. His friends filmed the workout and wanted to send the video to Jooshi, but Yusong decided to keep it as a surprise. He wanted Jooshi to be able to witness his performance with his own eyes. On the eve of the ceremony, Yusong's workout video was sent to the teacher. Jooshi, when passing by another gym, saw that Subin was also tired of training. They chatted for a while and Jooshi approached Subin to take a closer look at his face. She was surprised that he looked so much like Yusong that she couldn't believe it. Subin was surprised by Jooshi's sudden close contact. But she quickly calmed down and thought that both of these people were overworked. So Jooshi decided to work harder and also go to training. As a result, she accidentally forgot the glass of water in Subin's place. On the day of the Jooshi party, we are anxiously waiting for Yusong's performance. Earlier, Subin sent a photo of the water cup to Jooshi and promised to return it. Subin performed first and when he finished it was Yusong's turn to take the stage. But when Yusong's head screeched, he was stunned to realize that Subin's choreography was exactly the same as his. The audience was also surprised and began to spread the word that Yusong had copied Subin's choreography. Unable to accept this situation, Yusong chose to avoid stopping by and not performing. Yusong's close friends still trust their cousin, suspecting that it was Subin who caught them first. Subin hears all this but just quietly moves forward to return the glass of water to Jooshi. That evening when he came home, Subin told his mother about the performance, and his mother seemed to know everything in advance. So she just gently told him to help prepare food for him. Meanwhile, the sleeping Yusong had a nightmare. In his dream, he saw a vulgar monster capable of catching humans before and then taking the form of a Subin. This made him even more confused about himself and what was happening. The next day is the school's guardian angel holiday, an event that all students eagerly await. Each student will draw a random draw to find his angel, then complete the task by clapping their hands together. This is an activity to strengthen cohesion and interaction among students. But Yusong didn't go to school today, so his group of friends was discussing whether to draw a lottery for him or not. Suddenly someone patted Jooshi from behind. It was Subin. He draws a ballot with Jooshi's name on it and asks her to clap her hands with him. However, due to the previous event, Jooshi didn't have much affection for him. She sat still and motionless, making the atmosphere more awkward than ever. Fortunately, Jooshi's best friend took the initiative to help, but Subin didn't intend to end like that. When he calls out to chat, Jooshi candidly asks Subin if his choreography has to be practiced on his own. Instead of answering directly, Subin asked if she had asked Yusong this question. If not, it means that Jooshi is only suspicious of him. Subin said he didn't know what was going on, just wanted to investigate things clearly. At the same time, Yusong also realized that something was wrong. A message appeared on Jooshi's phone asking about the location of Yusong's gym. Seeing this, he was suspicious and secretly recorded the other party's phone number. Hyenwer is also investigating the matter. He once sent a video of Yusong's choreography to his teacher, so he carefully asked if the teacher had distributed the video. However, the teacher is also investigating and confirming that it is not him. Hyenwer immediately finds Subin's best friend, who is also an intern at Subin's mother's company. When Hyenwer shows him Yusong's dance video, he realizes the truth. The friend immediately called Subin to reveal what happened when he went to the company's headquarters before and happened to see this video. It seems that this is not a coincidence. Subin decides to sneak into his mother's room and finds a folder on his computer. The content inside caused the Subin to collapse immediately. It turns out that his mother has gathered a lot of information about Yusong and turned Subin into a copy of Yusong. That day, when he heard that his father had followed the call of the king of Pluto at the funeral of the Subin to meet Yusong for the first time, he finds out that he is the child of his father's new wife, that is, Yusong's half-brother. Subin's mother robbed his father by catching Yusong's mother before him, and this arrest affected both children. After learning the harsh truth, Subin couldn't help but break down. When the door suddenly opened, he quickly hid in the corner and was lucky not to be detected by his mother's secretary. As soon as he walked home, he unexpectedly found his mother drunk. While preventing his mother from pulling him back and shouting Yusong, Subin was stunned for a long time. Meanwhile, Yusong was worried that he had run away from the orientation session, fearing that his classmates would laugh at him. But suddenly seeing that his classmates didn't care about it made Yusong feel more comfortable. Jooshi, to comfort Yusong, slapped his hand on him and placed a candy in his hand. Everyone also came one after another to clap their hands with Yusong, all creating a harmonious atmosphere. Jooshi then saw the lonely Subin sitting in a corner. She took the initiative to run over and apologize for suspecting him yesterday. Although Subin already knew the truth, he didn't say it, but just sat quietly with him, enjoying this peaceful moment. On this side, Yusong is still investigating the case of plagiarism of choreography. Remembering the phone number he saved earlier, following the reminder of his friend Yusong, he followed the clue and went to Subin's mother. In a bold video interview, she proudly boasted that the secret to her success is to catch others more beautiful than herself. She even showed everyone a large photo of her family. What is amazing is that her family is exactly like the Yusong family. He finally understood what the origin of this plagiarism case was. At this moment, Subin appeared from behind Yusong and asked, but the other party pretended not to know anything, turned around and left immediately. The two came to school dressed exactly the same, making the classmates curious to take out their phones to take pictures. Subin proudly assumes that his classmates think that Yusong is catching before him. Meanwhile, it is clear that he is catching before the Yusong. Yusong angrily leaves first, but Subin still refuses to stop. During lunchtime, he dressed like Yusong again and deliberately bumped into him and asked his classmates to film the whole process live. When Yusong wants to get up and leave again, Subin holds him back and refuses to let him go. At this time, Subin suddenly asked if he was avoiding his face. When the Yusong tries to escape, the Subin suddenly spills the plate of food, causing the Yusong's clothes to be stained. After that, he also appeared innocent, as if Yusong was bullying him. Although everything is self-written by Subin, people consider Yusong to be the target of criticism. Subin's ability to provoke and pre-catch is inherited entirely from his mother. Yusong's mother used to be the best dancer in school, which made Subin's mother jealous. So she began to preempt Yusong's mother from clothes, financial management to stealing her husband. Subin initially tried to resist her mother's desire to pay attention to her true self instead of making herself a copy of someone else. But the frustration grows when he sees his mother kneeling down to tie a thick rope to Yusong and call his name affectionately. Subin had completely lost his reason, deciding that if his mother wanted him to catch him first, he would catch him first to the end. He will definitely create non-stop provocations. When Yusong discovers the strong connection between Subin's mother and his mother, he feels disgusted to the point of panicking. Fortunately, the teacher intervened and took Subin's mother away, so Yusong felt relieved. Zaza notices Yusong's strange change, but when she wants to check on him, Yusong suddenly faints. There was no time to think too long, so she hurriedly took him to the infirmary. After he regained consciousness, Yusong told Zaza not to tell anyone about this. Then Yusong tried his best to pretend that nothing had happened. Zaza felt frustrated and angry at Yusong, but at that moment she received a message about the guardian angel's activity. Zaza's guardian angel happens to be Yusong. She immediately asked where Yusong was and hurriedly said goodbye to her friends to go to the gym to find him. When he met Yusong, Zaza felt sorry for him, so he came to comfort him. Yusong on this side was also unhappy. He decided to call Subin out for a direct confrontation. However, Subin kept silent, causing tension and misunderstanding between the two to increase. Zaza announces that Yusong is her guardian angel and that she has a small wish to visit the aquarium with him. Yusong was a little worried, and Zaza looked at his strange expression and asked worriedly. At this time, she knew that Yusong was very afraid of octopuses. Determined to help his friend overcome his fear, Zaza returns home looking for something. And after a while rummaging on the roof of the cabinet, she found two cute octopus-shaped teddy bears. Then he laughed happily when he thought of his plan. The next morning, the three of them, Zaza, Yusong, and Hyunwoo, went to the aquarium together. Zaza is determined to help Yusong get rid of his fear of octopuses. The three of them played throughout the day, taking pictures and sharing with Jooshi. When they arrived at the aquarium area, Zaza and Hyunwoo were led by the aroma of low-wing bird cakes, so they ran to buy them. Yusong was lazy to move, so he decided to sit and wait for them. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo tells Zaza about Yusong's panic disorder. He used to faint in the aquarium but is now much better. Zaza recalled yesterday when Yusong fainted, worried that he had not fully recovered. They quickly returned to Yusong's place, but he was gone. It turns out that Yusong is helping a lost child and accidentally walks to another exhibition hall. On the way back, Zaza took out the little octopus doll that had been prepared. Looking at the cute octopus, Zaza believes that Yusong will no longer be afraid. Zaza felt that this little octopus was very similar to Yusong. Yusong smiled happily and hung the little octopus in his pocket. In his heart he felt much more relieved because of the Zaza that he was no longer afraid of octopuses. This couple is really so cute that they don't get bored. That night, Zaza-chan couldn't sleep and he thought of Yusong in his head. His words about the little octopus kept repeating in her mind. Zaza slipped to recognize the cute little octopus and Yusong said it looked like her. Are you complimenting her cutely? The next day, the two of them went to school together on Zaza Street to complain about her father's lack of interest in her. Yusong didn't say anything, just quietly dragged her to the flower shop and bought a bouquet of flowers. It turned out that it was the day of his father's pit and Zaza felt regret for criticizing his father. Yusong only silently expressed his dissatisfaction with his father while feeling abandoned. Zaza apologized to Yusong after leaving the flower shop and apologized to him. She realized that she hadn't paid attention and cared about his feelings. Although Yusong didn't care, Zaza still blamed himself. Yusong wanted to iron her, so he stepped forward and gently rubbed her head. Who expected Zaza to be angry and say that he thought he was a puppy? Although Zaza was joking, he felt a pressure in his heart. That day, Zaza was even more sure that Yusong was his most special friend. They then went back to school, which is known to be the largest producer of Korean idols. Even school dance teachers have their own entertainment company. And if they see a potential student, they will directly sign a contract. Yusong's teacher noticed his outstanding dance and directly invited him to try it out. At the same time, he also posted a video of the two dancing on social networks to promote. Zaza was overjoyed to see Yusong have the opportunity to make her debut, prouder of her friend than ever. At this point, the two female classmates approached Yusong and started talking. The two said they had filmed his video and asked if they could post it to their circle of friends. At the same time, they also asked to print Yusong's social media account. When the two girls heard his approval, their faces were immediately embarrassed and full of excitement. Seeing the girls' admiration for Yusong, Zaza couldn't help but feel jealous. She immediately showed a more aggressive attitude. Suddenly, a group of male students rushed over, creating a chaotic scene. Yusong quickly stepped in to protect Zaza from falling. After that, Yusong was interested and hurriedly asked her if she was okay, making Zaza realize that something was wrong. Is this the Yusong you know? If it was according to his past personality, Yusong would definitely scold her more carefully, but how could he keep it so tight? Zaza was full of questions, asked Yusong why did he do that to me and asked if he liked her? Many of our boys heard Woo ask her what she was talking about. Yusong was surprised not to understand what Zaza was referring to. At the end of school, Zaza was alone in the gym looking at photos of Jooshi on social media, then fell into a deep thought. She was angry when she saw that there were too many comments that spoke ill of Jooshi. Yusong silently walked to the side and quietly approached to see what she was doing. Zaza turned to look at him, inadvertently closing the gap between both of these situations, which made her a little embarrassed. Just as she was about to speak, Yusong's phone lit up. She hurriedly snatched it to see if it was a message from the girl earlier. It turned out to be just a message from the home teacher asking Yusong to remember to send an introductory video. At this time, Zaza remembered Yusong's audition. Zaza said that if Yusong makes his debut, he will be seen by more people, there will be more fans. He seemed to be dreaming about a good future, but Zaza's expression was a little sad. Yusong was confused again. He decided to ask Zaza, wanting her to give him advice on whether to tell his mother about the audition. Because his mother didn't really like him doing these things. Zaza encouraged him that as long as he made a successful debut, he could make a lot of money and bring honor to his mother. But Yusong said that his mother doesn't need him to make money, he just needs to spend the money. Zaza teased and asked his mother if she needed a daughter. Yusong laughed when he heard that. However, Zaza realized that something was wrong, and she wanted to retract her words. Yusong, a straight man, naturally did not understand Zaza's meaning, but still took the initiative to invite Zaza to his house. Receiving an invitation from Mr. Zaza, he quietly happily agreed. The next day, when he saw Yusong with a radiant look of confidence in front of the crowd, Subin felt like his heart was crossed. If my mother had a real Yusong, his existence would be meaningless. He ran away from the gym and missed every big thing arranged by his mother. This was the first time he dared to go against her. Meanwhile, his close friend Chae-jong, who accompanied him, was not so lucky. Everyone was waiting to take pictures, but the Subin didn't show up, causing things to come to a standstill. Chae-jong offered to film his part first, but was told by his agent that he was nothing without Subin. Then the direct agent said that he did not have the opportunity to make his debut. Chae-jong helplessly kept calling Subin, but no one answered. At this time, Subin is hiding in a cafe trying to escape the harsh reality. At night, when Chae-jong finished his part-time job and on his way home, he received a call from the landlord asking for rent. Now a successful debut is his only way out, but when he gets home, he finds Subin waiting for him there. Chae-jong worriedly asked Subin why he didn't answer the phone. Subin, confused, replies that he saw the call but didn't want to go there. Chae-jong didn't dare to be angry. Facing the son of the director of the company, he could only give in. Subin then said that he didn't want to go home and wanted to stay with him for a while. Chae-jong smiled bitterly and said that if his mother knew he was here, he would be in trouble. Lowering his ego to cover Jong, begging Subin to help me this time because this is his last chance. Chae-jong begs Subin to come to the show with him, but Subin is suspicious and asks if Chae-jong is afraid that he can't make his debut himself, right? Hearing Subin expose the truth like this, Chae-jong didn't know what to say more. In Chae-jong's mind, Subin is a child who was born with a golden eyebrow. How can he understand his difficulties? The anger that greeted Chae-jong clenched his fists in the depths of his heart, raising the intention of revenge. On the other hand, early in the morning, Jooshi was very eager to participate in the audition for trainees. Originally, he was looking forward to this audition, and his friends also enthusiastically cheered for him. But when they arrived at the company's doorstep, Jooshi received a notice that the audition had been cancelled. Raising his face, he accidentally met the person he didn't want to meet the most, his half-brother Subin. Jooshi originally didn't want to say hello, but Subin deliberately followed the forest as if he wanted to say something. In the end, Subin couldn't help but show Jooshi the message on his phone saying that he was the one who was the imposter. Subin suspected Jooshi had posted because he was the only one who knew this. But Jooshi coldly denied it and told Subin to go ask someone else. But when he saw Subin, he was so worried that he scratched the corners of his eyes, and Jooshi still held out his hand to stop him. It looks like an older brother. Besides, Zaza meticulously prepared some delicious pastries because Jooshi attended today's audition. Jooshi was also once again chosen as the MC for the school's talent contest. Double happiness really deserves to be celebrated. Before Jooshi goes on stage to record because he forgot to put away his phone, Zaza rushes over to help her keep it. But when he touched Joshi's hand, Zaza suddenly realized that they were cold. Jooshi just smiled and said there was nothing to do and then walked on stage. Zaza looked anxiously at the audience in his heart and couldn't help but be nervous. It didn't take long for Jooshi to receive a call from his classmate informing him that Jooshi had fainted. Since he was in the same company as Jooshi, Subin quickly contacted his assistant to support him, then immediately went to school with Jooshi. When they arrived at the place where Jooshi had been taken away, Zaza realized that Joshi's phone was still with her. Subin says that he can help hand it over to Jooshi. But Zaza clearly doesn't trust the Subin, who ultimately decides to let it all go together. On this side, Jooshi wants to go back to school after waking up, but is taken back to the intern's dormitory by the manager. As expected, as soon as she arrived at the place, she received ridicule from her teammates. It was already dark very quickly, and Zaza personally came to return the phone, and by the way, he also brought Jooshi snacks. But the naive Zaza is completely unaware that Jooshi has endured a harsh boycott. So, in addition to preparing the pastry, Zaza also brought snacks for Joshi's teammates. When she arrives at the door of the room, Joshi's face doesn't look very good. She asks Zaza to leave quickly. However, Zaza still did not realize anything unusual and enthusiastically introduced the homemade snack to everyone. But when she handed the cake, Jooshi didn't reach out to receive it. Instead, a comrade from behind came out and sneered, saying that this thing can be eaten. At the same time, she mocks Jooshi for pretending to be sophisticated in weight control. Hearing his teammates say that, Jooshi quickly pulled Zaza downstairs. Subin, who was waiting downstairs, was also extremely worried, but Jooshi didn't notice. Instead, the checkmark came out later and suddenly came to the dormitory. Why don't you give the phone to the company? Why are you so confident? The girl group looks like sisters on the outside, but in reality the inside has been divided for a long time. The other three boycotted Jooshi, but the instructor thought she was more appropriate in the center position. This aroused the jealousy of his teammates. While passing by, she also deliberately pushed her down. Jooshi sometimes thinks about giving up being an idol but can't help but think back to 2 years ago. When she first became an idol, Zaza was very happy for her. When he found out that Jooshi was being bullied by his teammates, Zaza burst into tears in his heart. She was angry with Jooshi for not speaking sooner, but Jooshi couldn't help but get angry with Zaza. She thinks that what Zaza likes is always beauty, joy, not caring about the dark sides of life. She angrily said words that hurt the other party. When Jooshi returns to the dormitory, he sees the homemade Zaza cake being destroyed by his teammates. But his teammates continue to be sarcastic and speak ill of Zaza. In the end, Jooshi couldn't stand it and threw the cake box at her to express his anger. Jooshi hid in the room and shed tears when he looked at the greeting card Zaza gave her, and couldn't help but burst into tears. Zaza, on the other side, also shed tears of heartache. Subin reminded her to keep this a secret because if this story spreads out, it will only adversely affect Jooshi's idol career. Yusong heard Zaza's cry on the phone and immediately ran over. Subin even buys delicious food to pit Zaza and waits for Yusong to arrive before leaving. Although Zaza tried to keep this a secret, he still couldn't hide the pain of being hurt by Jooshi. She didn't understand why she had to hide it when they were friends. Yusong gently explained that sometimes the more friends they are, the more they have to hide it because they don't want their friends to worry. Just like him, when he was eliminated from the audition, he didn't know how to tell her. So he thought that Jooshi must feel the same way. Thanks to Yusong's comforting words, Zaza gradually calms down. Just as she was about to go home, Yusong stopped her. He revealed that he also had a secret that he had not told her, but he promised that the future would tell her. On the other side, Subin returned home. His mother still coldly ordered him to participate in the audition. His mother did not react at all when he ran away from home for 2 days. Subin, on the contrary, questioned his mother what would happen if the counterfeit was exposed. But my mother just laughed and told me to be obedient. Yusong also returns home unexpectedly that the teacher is also there and the teacher reveals a secret to him. It turns out that the reason why many of his auditions are cancelled is because of Subin's mother. She does so to force him to participate in a talent contest organized by the parent company Subin. Although he did not register, his name appeared on the list of winners. When this dirty world reveals its essence, it is useless to run away. Yusong enrolled in the talent contest at Subin's mother's company. On this side, Subin removed the mole by himself to catch the Yusong. Even the Jooshi was determined to resist. It was time to fight. She opened the refrigerator, took out all the drinks with chicken and poured them into the sink. Her roommate was woken up by the noise and immediately came out and asked her what she was doing. But Jooshi didn't stop and continued to pull out all the food in the house and throw it in the trash. Lying on the table, looking at the photo with Jooshi, I couldn't help but sigh, because she realized that Jooshi always met her liking. The pendants that her best friend chooses are always the designs she likes. But after a while, Jooshi's pendants seemed to be missing, so he hurriedly searched everywhere. By the time she came home in the evening, she was still depressed about this problem. Yukong tried to iron and said that he would go with her tomorrow to look for him. After that, Yukong sent him off to go home, but as soon as he turned around, he was suddenly stopped by someone. It turned out that Jooshi was hiding outside the door, sneaking a look at the two of them. Seeing the two intimate Jooshi is like discovering a new world, especially when she realizes that Yukong is willing to take a longer detour to take home. Jooshi's gossipy soul immediately burst into flames. The two decided to find somewhere to eat and talk, so the convenience store was a reasonable location. During the meal, Jooshi actively told Yukong about his experiences. Yukong slipped to realize the reason why the Raja was always depressed and worried about losing face. He asks Jooshi to do something to help Raja because she is almost sick from having to hold back her emotions. Suddenly the door rang and two cute teddy bears appeared online. It turned out that Jooshi was here. She said she had just bought this at a convenience store. This time she chose it according to her liking, not knowing if the Raja liked it or not. Immediately the Raja hugged Jooshi and sobbed, but his heart was filled with happiness. The two close friends immediately began a night of intimacy. They wore mischievous outfits and posed for photos. The joy and laughter that filled the room of sadness before also disappeared with the laughter. When he saw the cute fluffy octopus on the table, Jooshi knew that Raja had bought a pair before, but now he had one. Raja had to confess that she had given one to Yukong. Hearing that, Jooshi immediately interrogated her if she liked Yukong. Raja was confused and hurriedly changed the subject and asked Jooshi to sleep with him tonight. Jooshi agrees, then seriously apologizes to the Raja for saying things that hurt her. Raja also blamed himself for not caring about Jooshi's feelings, and the two girls hugged each other tightly. Meanwhile, the Subin received a threatening message with the content of a photo of his private meeting with the female idol Jooshi. But Subin didn't feel upset because taking this photo meant that the photographer had to be very close to him. More importantly, he can check the surveillance cameras to find that person. Soon he spotted a figure of the other person wearing a hood, but Subin still recognized it. He went straight to the recording studio where Chae-jong was practicing vocals. The shoes on Chae-jong's feet are exactly the same as that day. Subin did not go around directly telling Chae-jong that he knew what he was doing. Hearing this, Chae-jong immediately panicked and desperately apologized to Subin. He said that he didn't have bad intentions, he just felt that Subin wasn't feeling well lately, so he wanted to stimulate him in that way. But Subin didn't care about the opponent's excuses. He pretended to be comfortable and ignored Jong as if it had never happened. However, Chae-jong's mood became even more complicated. At this time, his mobile phone received a message from an old friend. On the surface, it says to introduce opportunities to make money for the guy, but in fact, it tricks him into going to serve wine to rich women. Chae-jong knows this is not a good thing, but he really needs money. After thinking for a long time, he still got dressed and got into his friend's car. Early the next morning, on the way to the school, he happened to meet a Porsche. It seems that Hyun-yu is the only friend in school that he has. Noticing the sad expression on his face, he immediately reminded him to smile more. Not only that, Hyun-yu also noticed his wound and took the initiative to bandage him. Touched by that interest, Tra-rong invited the veranda to breakfast. Hyun-yu is really a gentle and sincere friend. During breakfast, the two talked about the school's talent contest. At this time, I knew that the veranda had also registered to participate. This makes him worried because there are only a few appearances to debut. Not only that, the veranda is famous for being strong, so the remaining opportunities for him are even less. Suddenly, he received a message informing him that he had passed the audition. At the same time, the Wanderer also received a message, but his expression immediately changed when he read it. Subin on the other side was naturally qualified, but suddenly rushed over to ask why he was disqualified. Trae-rong kept telling me how hard he worked and begged Subin to help me think of a solution. However, Subin quickly goes out because he discovers that the Yuseum name is also on the selected list. He asked Yuseum why he was on the show. He was worried that he had fallen into his mother's trap. But Yuseum was extremely confident and wanted to know if he could turn the situation around on his own. On the other hand, she wandered to Subin's mother's office. He thought it was Subin who spoke ill of him in front of his mother that caused him to be disqualified. He wanted to ask her to give him another chance, but the woman just smiled coldly and took out a photo frame. The photos were taken while wandering around. Seeing this, Tra-rong immediately knelt down in fear and desperately begged. If these photos were exposed, his life would end right here. Subin walked into the room and saw his best friend kneeling on the ground, begging his mother for another chance to become an idol trainee. Because he has been photographed going on like this, he will no longer have the opportunity to make his debut. Subin hated the act of sneaking behind his mother's back and dragged him away. Trae-rong still held a voice of hope that Subin wanted him to help him find a solution. But the current Subin couldn't do anything more than look at the desperate fleeing. That night, he didn't dare to enter his room. He really didn't do anything bad, but who could believe him? In life, some people are happy, some people are sad. On the other side, Yukong is smiling and talking to friends during the epidemic weekend. After lunch, Zaza advised Yukong not to be picky about food. Hearing this, Yukong obediently promised to change later. Hyun-woo saw the scene and couldn't help but ask if the two had decided to date. Zaza said that Yukong had not confessed his love to her yet, but Yukong replied that she liked him first. The two played back and forth for a while, causing Hyun-woo and Zatsi to be fed and almost choked. In the afternoon, when they went to drink coffee, the two of them were still inseparable, so Zatsi was also happy for them. Unexpectedly, at this time, Zatsi received a message from a fellow bully asking her to talk. Influenced by Zaza and Yukong's frankness, Zatsi decided to agree to meet this time. Zatsi ignored the opponent's high moral foundation and directly expressed his dissatisfaction with his teammates. She didn't do anything wrong to receive such treatment. When he returns to Zaza's house alone, Zatsi is surprised to see Subin waiting at the door. Subin pretended to say that he happened to pass by and just wanted to visit her, but Zatsi noticed a wound in the corner of his eye. She stretched out her hand to touch the wound but was caught by Subin. This fist made him not let go. At that moment, Yukong appears with Zaza on the way home. Zatsi quickly pulled Subin and hid with him into a corner. Zaza still muttered, urging Yukong to confess his love, while Yukong deliberately refused. The two hid in the darkness and witnessed the whole incident. Zatsi asked Subin to leave quickly to avoid being misunderstood, but Subin quietly said that it was okay to misunderstand like this. After speaking, he left, but was pulled back by Zatsi. Zatsi asked him if he liked me. The famous female idol was suddenly entangled in a love scandal, causing an entertainment company to prepare to face and clarify the incident. However, the representative of Subin's parent company is very proud that she herself spread the scandal. She did so with the aim of promoting the idol trainee Yukong, who was currently participating in the audition. But when the rumors spread, I don't know how the parties feel. Zaza and Subin couldn't sit still. Zaza cried red with her eyes red, but she still couldn't stop denying that her eyes were swollen because she ate instant noodles the night before. Subin couldn't help laughing, took out his personal bandage, and then pitted it into it to reduce the swelling. Not only that, the guy also said that he was too kind. On the other side of the dormitory, the manager of the band is interrogating Jooshi about the recent incident. Unexpectedly, the teammates who had bullied Jooshi this time resolutely stood up to protect her. It turns out that Jooshi had a heartfelt conversation with the band leader the day before. Jooshi's sincerity touched the hearts of his teammates, helping them realize their mistakes. So much, the anger between people is also gradually healed. The teammates even bought a cake to apologize to Jooshi. They said they shouldn't destroy the cakes that Zaza had brought. The teammates also actively broadcast live even without the company's permission to help Jooshi clarify any misunderstandings. During the broadcast, they confirmed that Jooshi and Yusong were just normal friends. They also explained that the place where the two were photographed was the downstairs of a mutual friend named Zaza. So much that erases all doubts about Jooshi from fans. After receiving the explanation, Zaza was finally happy again. But as soon as she went downstairs, she saw the figure of Yusong waiting. The unpleasant emotions in her were both raw and exploding. Yusong is attacked by the scandalous news and has no choice but to turn off the phone. So Zaza didn't hear from him all day. When they met, the frustrations contained in her heart made her people sit on the ground and burst into tears. Yusong looked at Zaza with sad eyes. He gently hugged her from behind and explained everything seriously. Although Zaza believes that her boyfriend is not with anyone else, she still can't help but be heartbroken by this scandal. In order to comfort his loved one, Yusong directly kissed Zaza's cheek. Zaza noticed Yusong's big action and looked at him in amazement. Her astonished gaze made Yusong feel a little remorseful. Unexpectedly, Zaza, although begging each other to say that he was excessive, still bravely responded with a kiss on the lips. The interaction between this young couple is also too sweet. Their actions make others unable to take their eyes off. On the other hand, before the talent show had time to air, the secrets behind it were exposed. The representative of Yoshi's entertainment company, which is also Subin's mother, has been exposed as a saboteur who robs other people's families of happiness. She only created this program to pave the way for her son to debut. The true identities of Subin and Yusong were also revealed, causing a huge storm of public opinion. What was even more surprising was that the person who had planned all of this was Yusong's mother. After a long period of repression, she broke into Subin's mother's office and claimed that this was just a warning. If she did anything unfavorable to Yusong, she would definitely ruin everything she had. After speaking, she calmly dropped and left Subin's mother behind her. Subin didn't dare to look directly into Yusong's mother's eyes at the end of the door, but she went directly in front of him to remove her personal bandage. Looking at the scar left by himself, she said coldly, "Do you think you can cover it up like this?" Subin was only ashamed to hide the scar and constantly apologized. At this moment, a person stood up to protect the poor guy. Yusong questions what his mother is doing, and he says that those mistakes are not Subin's fault. After escaping from his mother, Yusong takes Subin to the sea to buy him a new personal bandage. Here, the two had an open and sincere conversation. Through that, the two brothers have solved the knot in their hearts. Already, Yusong also took Subin to dinner to help him barbecue. This guy's barbecue skills are also too shredded. While trying to make the main food, Yusong receives a lot of complaints, but the scene is still extremely warm. Yusong confesses that he really doesn't know how to barbecue, then pushes the iron clip to his younger brother. Subin was a little dissatisfied because he had offered to eat sashimi earlier. If you do that, isn't there no need to grill? After speaking, he immediately returned the tongs to barbecue to his brother. All rely on his brother's crumbling hand. After struggling for a while, the two discovered that the barbecue was surprisingly delicious. Between the laughter and the story, the brothers couldn't help but think about their family's affairs. If they were just children from ordinary families who didn't have to face these devastating situations, is their life extremely happy? Yusong's mother was a little unhappy when she saw Subin at first. As of seeing Subin trying to apologize, she didn't say anything more. The two brothers played games together and then slept in the same bed. Early the next morning, they wanted to run as fast as possible to avoid meeting Yusong's mother, but she stopped them and asked her son to finish breakfast before leaving. She also reminded Subin that it was the same. Sitting at the dining table watching Yusong's mother prepare breakfast carefully, Subin finally mustered up the courage to speak his heart. He apologizes to Yusong's mother for his past mistakes. Under Subin's sincere apologies, the expression on Yusong's mother's face looked complicated. Yusong quickly untied the siege so that Subin could quickly finish breakfast. But unexpectedly, when the two of them arrived at school, they encountered a scene of crying and laughing. Their friends seemed to be waiting for the two of them for a long time. In their hands, they were all karmic weapons, and the scene was filled with the smell of danger. Yusong sniffed this out, but the naive Subin was going to go over there to make Yusong hurry to stop him. Both of them just wanted to run away, but their speed could not be as fast as the army in front. After that, they held a vlog interview with the two Yusong brothers. The two showed a close relationship. They also practiced dance together. Many of these videos where the news about Subin's mother is a minor who destroys the happiness of Yusong's family is resolved smoothly. At the same time, the closeness between the two cousins also helps Yusong's mother understand. Hatred has long only made oneself a selfish person. Children who are not at fault are just the imposition of adults that have made them hurt and become unhappy. Yusong's mother went to In-hyuk's teacher and she made up her mind about wanting to change. After learning that Yusong's mother wants to change his life, In-hyuk agrees with her opinion. He was not only extremely supportive but also helped her find a completely new job. At this moment, Subin's mother suddenly walked out of nowhere and her anger reached its peak. 3 blood and 6 attacks, she immediately gave Yusong's mother 10,000 questions why. It has come to this country, but Subin's mother still thinks that Yusong's mother did it just because she wanted to harm her. Still, she had the belief that no one would trust Yusong's mother because she herself was in a higher position. The other teacher just stood there and went crazy. Yusong's mother only calmly said one sentence. She really didn't understand what Subin's mother was thinking in her head as a mother. How could she not feel ashamed of the children? Finally, Yusong's mother advises Subin's mother to stop the grudge of the two people who paid here. Because now it doesn't look good to look at the two mothers in reality. Leaving aside the advice that stopped Yusong's mother, she still couldn't control the anger in her heart. In the past, she had messed with the toppings and made everything lie blindly. But Yusong's mother had never had an opinion. But now she suddenly appeared, causing her life to suddenly change 360 degrees. Since the day Yusong's mother spoke up, there hasn't been a moment of peace in her life. Hearing this, Yusong's mother immediately turned to go downstairs, leaving Subin's mother still standing there screaming. In another corner of the city, Yu and Subin were confiding in each other. While confiding in him, he told Subin about the criticism of the breed, preparing to go back to his hometown to raise fish and grow more vegetables. Hearing this, Subin immediately ran to the train station on 3 legs and 4 legs to hold on to one of his few friends. However, the knot in the hearts of the two has not been untied, so even if Subin can't bear it, he just quietly looks at the voice and turns to leave. After learning about Yusong, he immediately went to confide in Subin and advised his brother not to think too much. After all, the two should also give each other time to unravel the problems in their hearts. During the time of separation, the two will find a way to heal the wound that has just been torn on their own. Then one day both of them will understand each other's sincerity the way the two cousins did. After helping Subin get a little burden in their hearts, the two brothers immediately plunged into practice. Both of them must really shine in the upcoming contest to find young talents. The day of the contest was approaching, and at this time, Subin's mother suddenly appeared from nowhere to find her son. This time she came to pick up her children home. She didn't want him to continue studying at this school. Not only that, she also strongly objected to not allowing Subin to participate in the upcoming contest. But Subin is different now. He is no longer a boy under his mother's control. This time, Subin wants to live because he does not take office, does not follow anyone. Not only did Subin not respond to her mother's request, but she was also willing to show her mother where she had gone wrong. His mother had been so wrong so far, but no one had told her. So Subin wants her mother to face the truth and then find a way to correct her own mistakes. Even if people criticize, even if people throw stones, even if the whole world turns its back on my mother, there is always my son by my side. Hearing Subin say that, his mother didn't dare to believe her hand. She didn't believe it was true. Carrying the pain to the blue sky, she quietly turned to leave. Subin didn't think too much either, but continued to return to practice. Time flies like a dog running out of the fields. But the day of the contest has arrived. This time Subin and Yusium have combined to create a super product that runs out of dipping sauce. Since that show, the two brothers have attracted a large number of fans. Who would have thought that in the midst of the climax, the contest between the two brothers participated in announced the end of the school. However, there are also many competitions that cousins have had the opportunity to shine. After long nights of wringing her hands and getting bored of thinking, Subin's mother finally realized her mistake. That's why she wanted to go to another place with her son and start all over again. Before moving to a new place, Subin came to say goodbye to Yusium. Until now, the person that Subin feels most grateful for is probably Yusium and his mother. After overcoming many difficulties together, the relationship between the two brothers also became more and more resistant. The two confided in each other daily stories together to joke to create laughter. Finally, Subin wants to ask Yusium to help him say goodbye to his classmates. However, Yusium refused to let Subin say this himself. On this side, Jooshi had been waiting for Subin since the afternoon and still didn't see him coming. Just met, the two of them happily walked together and then confided in each other. In Subin's mind, he just wants to be someone's special person. As for whether you become a celebrity or not, it doesn't really matter. Hearing that, Jooshi also spoke all the thoughts in his heart. She also does not require Subin to become a famous singer that everyone must know. But the first time they met, she accidentally saw his serious look. Therefore, Jooshi hopes that Subin will have a free life doing what he likes and loves the things he loves. At this moment, a car suddenly appeared in front of the two of them, and it was a car that came to pick up Subin. Before getting into the car, Subin suddenly gave Jooshi a kiss like a dragonfly in water. When Jooshi was still in a state of astonishment, Subin declared that it was what he wanted to do the most right now. Before Jooshi could react, Subin rushed into the car and said goodbye to her. Although each person has a different choice, it is all just for the purpose of coming together. Let yourself be the most perfect so that you can freely do what you want.